What's happening, my beautiful people? My name is Dirty Mike, and today, my friends, we're finally talking about custom tactics. A lot of people have been asking me in the comments, Mike, what does this mean? Does this really matter? Can you go into more information? This is that video. So if this is what you were looking for, make sure to drop a thumbs up, share it around the community. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments down below. Just before we get started, if you guys need any cheap codes or cheap games, make sure to head on over to g2a.com. I'll leave links down below in the description. Dirty, gonna get you that extra cash back bonus. We shall begin as we proceed to give you what you need. And I gotta start out with a disclaimer. I don't want to show clip analysis because it doesn't make sense. The only way that you're gonna notice some of the differences is through the course of an entire match, or if we're doing the most extremes. Maybe if I was on 0 pressure versus 100 pressure. And that's something I can showcase, and if you want to see that, drop a thumbs up, comments, tell me something. Because I can put it together, but it's got to be a long video, because it's over the course of that match where you're going to see example on example on example, versus if I tried to grab one clip, I can gather footage however I want and say, oh, this is what that did, or this is what this did. And it's not always true, and I don't want to deceive or manipulate in any sort of negative manner, but let's start out with build-up speed. Higher the number, they're more likely to make runs forward, off-the-ball runs. If it's lower, then they're less likely to make those runs, maybe more supportive, more safe passes. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter, and that's why you see so many people between 40 to 70. Because if you don't play quickly and you have this juiced up, it's not going to make you play a tiki-taka style. And I've stressed this many times in the past. Custom tactics will not make or break your gameplay. It can improve what you already do well, make it a little bit better. It can help a lot defensively, but we'll wait just a second to talk about defense and why you can have drastic improvements defensively with custom tactics, or it'll just look different. It'll be massive changes where when you're attacking, some of the adjustments, it's not going to make a bad player good. It's just not possible. I'm sorry if you don't have the intangibles of FIFA with the quick passing, the build-up, the skill moves. You're not all of a sudden going to become a skiller or open up tons of space because of your custom tactics. If you're missing important understanding, important built-up in the gameplay mechanics, if you don't have that, you won't be winning. Build-up passing, basically low number, they're coming short. The higher that number, they're going for some of the in-behind passes, they're looking for some of the long distance, and somewhere in between you got a nice little balance. The reason I talk about the attack and the build-up and then correlating with the custom tactics not always being as important as people love to stress, oh, my custom tactics are doing this, is because if you pass and move a lot, your players are going to go forward. If you don't do that, yes, they're going to be kind of stale and stagnant. That's just how FIFA works. Organized versus freeform. What does this mean? Freeform, at least defensively, you're going to have players pushing into the box. You got your fullbacks getting in. Your center back should still sit back, but organized is a little more structured. They tend to stay in a back line. They're not out of position. It deals with making those runs, but you really don't want your defenders, in my opinion, to be on some sort of crazy freeform because we don't need them in the attack. I need you to play defense for me. I've got plenty of players that are going to go forward and create opportunities. Moving on, we're going to talk about chance creation. And this is where you're looking at your passing, your shooting, just your overall attacking. You got the cross option, which we don't see a lot of crosses in this year's installment. And when we're looking at passing, it deals with safe passes versus risky passes. Kind of like I mentioned before. How safe is that supporting run, or are they trying to go in behind? Are you trying to get more players pushed forward? And I truly believe that the first couple sections aren't massively important on custom tactics until you get to the defense. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's value, but it's not going to make you, oh, I'm an amazing top tier player now because I changed this. And I'm not trying to hate on custom tactics. I use them. Everybody should. It just gives you a little more consistency in terms of how your team moves forward and definitely how they defend. When you're looking at crossing, the higher the number, players are more prone to get into crossing positions. They're looking for the cross. Your players will anticipate that there could be a cross incoming. That's good. And then shooting, sort of similar situation. The higher the shooting number, players look to take that first shot. And they're set up right outside the box for you. If you're a long shot specialist, maybe you want this to be a little bit higher. Now, if you keep it really low, it's almost as if you're looking for the sweat, the layoff at the last moment. Lastly, we've got organized versus free form. And remember, this deals with what sort of runs you're getting off the ball that you might not be controlling. these are not going to be manual runs. And it's the creativity of those runs. Many times you see people use freeform because when you're attacking, it might be nice to have that additional overlap. Or some creativity in terms of your tiki-taka build-up, the 1-2s, all of the above. It makes sense. It's more common to see freeform in this category compared to when you're looking at the initial and the passing and the build-up, because it affects your defense. So in the midfield and the attack, a lot of people like freeform. Organized, not an issue. Kind of self-explanatory, but hopefully that gives you a little bit more information on what you're doing in terms of this whole section. And that's why you see a lot of people high shooting and then low crossing, because people just don't cross that much. But if your shooting's up, they're going to be right on the edge. They're almost a Neymar angle where they're looking for the finesse shot, or you got the possibility of an across the body with the power joint. And remember, this is all my opinion from playing a lot of FIFA. Let's talk about defense. And this section, I believe, changes a lot. If you are struggling defensively, or you feel like your players are too high up the pitch or they're not high enough up the pitch, this is easy to change. And custom tactics actually make a big difference defensively, at least in my opinion. You have a lot of defensive correlation between pressure and aggression. So let me explain what that is. Pressure deals with how far up the pitch you are. Where would you like to start pressing? The higher the number, you're in your opponent's face, and you're doing it, boom, back and forth, back and forth. If it's low, you're just sitting back relaxing. You're not doing much. It could set up a park the bus. Typically, I would say people play between 40 to 60 is normal. If you're above 60, you're very aggressive. If you're lower than 40, you are very defensive. I understand both ends of the spectrum here. And then when you're looking at aggression, aggression is how players trap in those areas. So pressure deals with your initial positioning. Aggression deals with how you swarm somebody in those same positions. Hopefully that makes a lot of logical sense. It does, and that's why they go together. So a lot of people that are playing high pressure are also going to have high aggression because they're trying to overtake the ball in those spots. And a lot of the best players, man, they are aggressive online, and it starts your counterattacks. It makes things easier. Then I'd also like to talk about width, which deals with how wide or how narrow is your team, both defensively and I would even say in the midfield. I notice it. And if you're playing against a 4-3-3, for example, and I'm using a 4-1-2-1-2, so the 4-3-3 has a lot of width. I don't have that. I can increase the width to a higher number, therefore my team's going to stretch out wide. It might allow me to match that opponent a little bit easier if I'm struggling versus the wing play, at least defensively. And then when you have cover versus offside trap to me is, it's kind of unpredictable versus cover. One center back is covering another center back. Your back line, they're looking to stop the through ball, the over the top. You're not going to give up nearly as many. Ooh, one pass and we're gone. We're offside trap. It's not bad for pressure, but even guys that are high press typically still will have cover because they know that they're not going to get caught out. Because it only takes one time to get caught out where you've ruined your whole game, especially at the competitive level. I would be shocked to see people in the pro scene playing offside trap just because there is that random aspect where your backline kind of moves on its own. And as I previously stated, if that happens once, it might cost you the event, cost you the match, cost you the qualifier, and that's just not a good look. Thanks again for watching. If you enjoyed the content, make sure to drop a thumbs up. If you're brand new, subscribing is free as can be. And if you have questions, the comments are your friend. I'll do my best to get back to everybody. And I have a lot more coming your way ASAP. But until next time, peace.